Welcome. This is Conversations with Matthew Bronson here on KUPR 99.9 FM in the high desert of Placitas, New Mexico. For those of you who are not aware, New Mexico is the land of enchantment. So I challenge you to come and be enchanted. Video versions of this are often available on abqlive.tv. So listen today and watch tomorrow or next month because it takes me that long. Today we're speaking about the Placitas Studio Tour, year 20.
Oh my God, 30. That's 10 more years.
I'm thinking of the Placitas Artist Series. That is year 30.
Is it?
It is.
Wow.
That's what they tell me.
I believe it.
Okay, they wouldn't lie about that. But this is the Studio Tour. We are here with local artist Riha Rothberg.
Hi, Matthew.
Welcome back.
Thank you. It's nice to be back.
I have never seen someone show up with so many notes. Should I just
it's just one little
go grab
page.
a cup of coffee and,
and I'll just talk?
Take it away? No, you are the founder.
Yes.
And what were you doing the 2 years before you founded the Studio Tour?
Well, I was, I guess, sort of getting in tour maven training.
You knew this
the
was
job.
going to happen.
I didn't know it was going to happen, but I had been hired to run the Placitas home tour those 2 years before, which I believe were the first 2 years of that.
Is that on monster.com, or how does one find that job? Were you an event planner?
The phone rang.
Oh.
It had to do, I guess, with La Puerta and the real estate business and the builders. And I knew the builders. I was close friends with several of the Placitas builders. And it was something they had cooked up, an idea they'd cooked up. Let's get somebody to do it. Let's get somebody who isn't a builder to run it. And
right.
I guess I seem to organize.
Well,
what did they know?
You do. Well, 20 years of experience seems to have worked out well. So after you had managed the home tour, you said, It was
suggested. Okay. It wasn't my idea, to tell you the truth. It was suggested that because there's so many artists here, why not create a studio tour?
Had anyone spoken to the artist in a focus group and said, would you like a bunch of strangers coming to your house? Or, hey, we have this great idea to generate sales?
We sort of did that after the idea came up.
Anybody go, no way?
I had a little poster made, and I put it up at the grocery store.
Right. And
it said, I think I still have it in the studio, and it said, first annual, which was optimistic, calling it annual if it was the first, but first annual Placitas Studio Tour, $25 an artist, and my phone number, I think, or something like that.
Right.
And because I certainly didn't have email yet. And
did you have
we ended up with, I didn't.
Okay.
I mean, in those days, we cut and pasted the whole guide, and oh God. And anyway, we ended up with 30. I counted; it was 36 artists the first year, and the last few years it's been 59 or about that. It's been 59 last year and this year, and I think one year we actually had 60 or more.
Was there a bad year where you had 27?
No, and actually 27 would be fine. Then you could go see them all.
Well, before we get to what it is,
the Placitas Studio Tour?
Yes.
On Mother's Day weekend?
Yes, always. Year
always.
20? The website is?
PlacitasStudioTour.com.
Never wanted to go for the .net.
We got .com and we stuck with it.
That is the best.
Good. Well, we got in early.
There are so many now. I don't know if you've noticed, there's some really strange ones.
Yeah, I like me. Me. That's good. But anyway,
so,
let's talk about me.
But let's talk about isn't that there's a country song. I'm
I know.
Talking about me, but you don't talk about me. But you're a Midwestern girl.
Yes.
In an art family?
Yes. Definitely.
Were you in?
My parents were musicians, but we were artists of all different kinds around us.
But that's what paid the mortgage? Or the rent?
It did eventually.
Okay.
Or part of it eventually. My mother actually she kind of dropped the music and became an arts administrator. So she ended up in St. Louis. She became the director of the Missouri Arts Council. And then after several years of working there, she moved to the NEA, National Endowment for the Arts, as a regional representative. And so, yes, that helped definitely. That was a good job. In those days, that was, the government really supported the arts and wanted to help our culture thrive.
Of course, as governments will do.
It made sense then.
And it's also, the reality of raising a family, you have to have a regular paycheck. We don't have to, but it's a nice luxury. It
was great. And of course, my stepfather was a television engineer, so that was kind of artsy too, and he was real creative, and because of his job, and he was affiliated with NBC, we were, between the two of them, it was either Otto Preminger or Stan Can, it was just weird combination of
Where was he
social
doing the engineering?
At the Pulitzer television station, KSD-TV in St. Louis, which was the NBC affiliate in St. Louis.
So Otto Preminger, did he get to meet other?
We met Otto because of my mom's job. He came to dinner. I met Johnny Carson and Stan Can because of my dad's job. And so, it was kind of interesting. It wasn't a really show business family, but it was in a way because it was, the arts.
Well, how old were you when you met Johnny Carson?
Oh, a teenager, high school.
So it's kind of like meeting the Beatles, isn't it?
My dad called me, yeah, sure. And my dad called me one day, I don't know how to tell this. And he said...
I can tell you we're not going to edit it out.
Right. And he said, if you want to meet Bill Cosby, he's going to be at the noon show today. And I skipped school and went down to the station downtown and met Bill Cosby.
And everything's okay?
Everything's fine. He did kind of flirt with me, actually, when I think about it now, but at the time it just seemed like he was being friendly and shy. And
were either of them...
It was I Spy was on TV. That was what that's how old it was.
He was a good-looking guy.
Yeah.
Did he wear his I Spy suit with the skinny tie?
I don't remember what he was wearing. I remember what I was wearing.
How short was your skirt?
I was wearing a fur coat.
Really?
He made a comment about the mittens which matched the coat. That's what I remember mostly.
Was it hot enough to wear a fur coat?
It was wintertime.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do we know what kind
I took it off once I got there. Yes, but I'm not telling you because it would be awful environmentally. Oh, God.
It's a Arctic baby seal?
Yeah, something like that. But
well,
it was old at the time. And it was one of those shop, used clothes shop. And I was oh my God, this is so beautiful.
It was, we didn't know better.
No. Well, I knew I really liked the kind of animal that it was, and I felt honored to wear it, and it kept me warm for many winters. So there you go.
You paid homage to it every time you put it on. Do we need to bring in a therapist, like on Jerry Springer, to get
I don't hold on to guilt too much.
Okay. Wow. From a Semitic family.
No, but see, my family wasn't Jewish. My husband was Jewish.
Okay.
I have Jewish heritage, but we didn't. I wasn't.
But were you terribly religious?
No, not at all. The arts, music was. Oh, sure, Christmas tree.
But
everything.
Was it Christmas?
We celebrated everything. It was Christmas.
Okay.
My grandma was about Jesus, and she taught me about conscience, which was
important.
But she didn't make it be about Jesus specifically, although they had that classic picture of Jesus.
Oh, yeah.
The blonde Jesus.
Yeah.
I still have it somewhere.
I think they've proven that's exactly what he looked like. All right. And then you spent some time in the Southeast, the Emory area.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So you... I'm asking because I was fortunate with all of the complaints I could have about my upbringing, that my parents did travel a lot and took us. I would not have done that with me, but thank God they did that with myself and my sister, and that is a huge part of who I am. Mm-hmm. And when I was able to earn a living, I always brought lunch so I could do another vacation a year. It was always where I could go, and I think that changed. You meet people who are well-traveled, you speak to them differently than people who...
haven't been to Placitas yet.
Yes, I grew up in Los Angeles. I have met people in Albuquerque who have heard of Placitas.
I know.
It's, dude, get in the car. You'll like it.
Yeah.
or do that. All right, so but because of your life path, you did spend time with the Four Corners and with the Native Americans.
Yes.
I say the Native Americans, like
the Diné. I was only with the Navajo, basically. I met some Hopis, but
the Diné is part of the.
That's the Navajo.
Okay, then why don't you say
Navajo?
Navajo?
That's what they call themselves.
Oh,
the people.
Okay, Diné. So instead of going, "Hey, blood," you go, "Hey, Diné."
I don't know.
What is not to get way off path, but is there you like shake hands or nod or?
You don't shake hands. You grasp for a moment. You don't shake.
Because often physical contact is either part of a culture or not.
I always felt like they were adapting to me if I put my hand out to shake it, and they would just kind of politely hold it for a second.
But that is polite.
Yes.
You do not shake a woman's hand unless it's extended to you. I'm watching too much Nancy Dare.
I was going to say you were trained, and a lot of people don't train their kids anymore to stand up or
No,
There's I feel like thank you for opening the door. Or, four-way stops are not even it's like that's not even etiquette. It's just what you're supposed to do, but it's amazing how little etiquette there is.
It's a guidance.
It's a sweet thing.
Your stop signs. It's like we think you should. But you decide. So at some point...
Totally off topic.
No, it's my topic. I think we're doing great.
Okay. Keep talking.
It's showbiz. All right, so you end up going back and forth to the Navajo area in the Four Corners a couple times.
Twice, yeah.
Right, and then you decide,
and then we ended up here because we wanted to be in the Southwest, and this was such it turned out to be perfect. A bunch of the people that we'd been with the IHS had already migrated to the Albuquerque area.
And what is the IHS?
Indian Health Service.
Okay. We don't all know that.
I'm sorry.
It's okay.
And and then when we moved to Albuquerque, it took us about 6 months to just driving around and exploring to discover Placitas, and we were always looking at houses, even though we thought we should wait a while. And so we found Placitas. We discovered a house that Bob Poling was building. It was going to be perfect if we just made the garage the studio and built another garage. And and so.
And did that happen?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. I am surprised, since we are talking about the Placitas Studio Tour.com Mother's Day
weekend, which is May 13th and 14th this year.
Perfect. Of the people who have moved here, buying houses as opposed to building houses. How long they wait before they actually build the studio, or people who still build the studio later? It's like, why don't we just do it all at once? And there may not be an answer to that. Or am I just observing a small segment?
Well, some people are still working when they move here, and then later they retire, and then they decide they're going to be an artist, and they build a studio.
Yeah. Well, we talked about that a little bit earlier, decided to be an artist.
I was being a little facetious, but, I think there are a lot of people who have always had the urge, a creative urge, and just haven't ever focused on it. It doesn't mean that they can't become an artist because they're 60. My grandfather started painting in his 90s, and he was brilliant in a very kind of Grandma Moses way.
Right, but
I
some
love,
people sure.
I mean, they're wonderful. Sure. They're joyful and gorgeous little.
Had he had any personality changes by that point, or he just was older?
No, Papa was. I don't know. Papa was Papa. He was always making something anyway. A teeter-totter or a swing or a... Did
he finish it, or did he just...
And he was a needlepoint guy. He was a huge... Both my grandparents did needlepoint. They're really the ones who taught me pride of craftsmanship.
Mm-hmm. It's funny you say needlepoint, just to stay away from the Placitas computer.
What time is it? I gotta go.
I ran over a little bit a month or so ago, and the next people... And we're in the Collin Room of the beautiful Placitas Library, and this month is student art.
Fabulous.
You wouldn't know it. Some of this stuff is like impressive.
The pumpkins are great.
Yeah, well...
Are they in the background?
Yes, great. Especially since it's April and it's Child's Eye.
Yeah.
So I ran over.
Poor thing.
And it was the Stitchery group that came in.
Oh.
And I did not know that. And these people come together, like 6 or 8 of them, hang out and do their stitchery. And that took me back to Rosie Greer doing that on the airplane.
Oh, yes. He came after Papa. But I have a record, might be a 78, of my grandfather being interviewed on, what was the old radio? It did arts, kind of interesting human shoot.
Not the Art of Studio.
This was in Omaha. Anyway, they interviewed him because he was the strong man of Omaha. No, but it was a national show on the radio.
He was the strong man?
He was the strong man of Omaha. He was a wholesale meat guy. Mm-hmm. That was his business. But he got known for being able to pick up 5 men and walk, while they're hanging on his arms or something.
Do we have any pictures?
I don't have a picture of him being a strong man, but I have a picture of him doing needlepoint that they put in a paper when they...
Do you remember him being strong?
Yeah, he was strong.
Like crack walnuts? What did he do to impress a little girl?
Everything he did impressed me.
That's what grandfathers were.
Yeah.
But he didn't get this big cloth and pull a bus with his teeth across the airport.
No. He didn't show off. He just, he was a leader. He was a natural he was a Leo. Mm-hmm. People liked him and they looked up to him, and he was a really generous guy and took care of a lot of people. I'm sure he fed a lot of people that didn't, have money for meat. And, he was strong in every way. His character was strong, too. And he didn't look like a muscle builder. He was just strong because he carried meat around,
Mm-hmm. I've met men in my life who do not look exceptionally buff or whatever, but I have seen them kind of promote, hey, let's arm wrestle kind of thing.
Yeah, he did arm wrestle. He had been in the military police in the First World War.
This one guy... I was 12 years younger. And I was in a physical kind of job, lifting crates, moving second floor, carry them up. There's no way. And he wiped me out like I was a 2-year-old. Mm-hmm. He just is strong.
Yeah.
We're so fascinating.
I was going to say, he would probably have loved the Placitas Studio Tour.
Well,
did he make art?
He did not make art, but they appreciated art. Mm-hmm. They appreciated music, which... All right. So you got this thing going.
Yeah, so we got this thing going.
So after year 1, did you go,
that was
bad
easy.
Idea?
No, it seemed really easy the first year for some reason. And then, it got more and more complicated. But the other thing was, after a few years, I started to delegate instead of thinking I had to do the whole thing. So that made it easier. And then when we got a website, when technology got involved, and Bunny Bowen, who does the website and has always done it and does a beautiful job, took over that part. And then Joan Fennicle took over doing the brochure, and with the help from Mars Rackstraw, who does the map. And the sign, I never did too much of the signs, except we used to make all the signs by hand, and I would, there was a group, the planning committee basically, and in the beginning, who got together and made the signs. And
it's got to be done.
But then we got somebody to do the signs, to be like the sign coordinator, and we started having those silk screened.
Right.
We still have to put them together and take them apart every year, and we have to rearrange the numbers and the Velcro thing, and it's complicated. It's a very complicated job, but we have Velcro, and we're not stenciling and spray painting every. Oh man. Anyway.
It's a rite of passage.
And we've had, I think, 5 or 6 or 7 people who've run the sign part alone, which is a crucial part of the tour. If you can't find the studios, this whole thing's not going to work. So, and we've cycled back, and John Couch, who was the first sign manager, he came back and did it again last year. And we didn't think he was going to be willing to do it again this year, but God bless him, he's doing it this year. And Jim Fish, who also helps a lot with that and stores the signs. So we're blessed.
And I would think John Couch, from the little I know about him, I had an opportunity to speak to him and Nancy. Man, you need a movie.
Yes.
This is America.
Yeah.
But his organizational skills.
Certainly Placitas. Yeah. Oh, he's very organized. And I mean, to the nth degree. So it'll be great. The signs always work out fine, but it's that's a big job, and it's coordinating people too. It's not just getting the signs made, because you've got to have the teams in each neighborhood and.
Right. Well,
it's a big deal. It's a big deal. And John and Nancy are one of the 7 studios that have been in the tour all 20 years.
Well, let's give a shout out to all 7.
Yeah, let's do that. So Bunny Bowen has been in all 20 years. Carl and Mary Hoffman Pottery, Joan Fennicle, Andy Callahan, Peaches Malmud, Nancy and John, as I said, and myself. And there are a lot of people who've done it 19 or 18 years, and something came up, and But the those 7 studios have been in every year for 20 years. We've never gone to Hawaii.
Never.
Studio tour weekend. Just saying.
to somebody.
To somebody.
Well, you can't go.
I can't. No, I can't. I usually try to go somewhere right afterwards. But the other thing we do, which is unique, I think, to our tour, is that the Saturday after the tour, some of the artists do the tour again for themselves. So that's a real gift. I mean, that's the community. That's a big part of the community building. Is we get together and we meet at the Merc at 9:00 in the morning, and we start close to number 1 or maybe number 1, depending on who's signed up. And we spend, maybe 20 minutes at each studio that's participating. And we do a box lunch, and we carpool. So we're talking in the car, and we're just sort of reconnecting once a year on a really a way that you're talking about art. You're looking at studios. We connect at other times during the year, and we have a big kickoff party, which is all the artists. So this is a little more intimate. And I don't think any of the other studio tours do that, because everybody kind of scatters back to the winds after an event like this, and some people just need to scatter to the wind.
And we're looking at the brochure.
Okay, yes, we are.
Where can I get that?
You'll be able to get that at the local sponsors like La Puerta and the Placitas Cafe and the Merc and Blade's Bistro and Placitas Realty, Placitas Dental. So
they're all there.
They're not there yet, but they'll be there this week, which is, they'll be there within 2 weeks of the tour. Sooner than that is like too soon.
All right, so.
But look for them at the end of April.
Okay. After your birthday.
Or maybe I'll do that on my birthday.
Who knows?
And so there'll be and also the whole brochure is online at PlacitasStudioTour.com. And they'll be around in other places too, because the artists take them to their own various hangouts.
Audrey and I had done the tour.
The range, did I mention the range? They'll be at the range.
Didn't.
And the Freight House.
Shame. Home on the Range, I believe, is there.
That's the store.
That's the store. The restaurants.
They're not on the map because the sponsors that are on the map are the only ones that are up here.
Right.
But, yeah. Well, we have lots of other sponsors that have been sponsors every year. Like John Roth, Rock Hill Electric has been a sponsor every year for 20 years. The Merc has been a sponsor every year.
And people can see all of the sponsors when they pick up the brochure.
They can, and they can. If the sponsor has a website, there's a link on the sponsor page to their website. So that's
So I'm looking at the map, and anyone who has driven around Placitas to go visit a friend or whatever knows that there are some interesting roads and entrances to communities.
No kidding. And all these different perspectives on the mountain. It's incredible.
It's not only the studio tour, it's you get to see Placitas like you've never seen before. But I'm thinking of John Couch. How does he lay this out? Is it always kind of the same order, or does he go, well, we're going to start over here?
Actually, he doesn't lay it out.
I thought that was his job.
No, he figures out where the signs need to go and how many signs we need and so forth.
Oh, so here's the blueprint, go build it.
I actually have, it's all in the computer now.
Right.
And Mars does it. Well, Mars and I sit there and move the dots.
Based on
I drive around. I drive around with the applications, and I find all the new people.
Okay.
And I take off the people who aren't doing the tour this year, and I put the new people on the map, and then on my little map, and then I go to Mars, and we sit there with her big computer screen, and we move things around, and we change the numbers every year because we alternate which end of Placitas the numbers start, just in an effort to be slightly clear. Because there is a psychological thing. Some people will start with number 1 or close to number 1. It doesn't really matter. The way to organize your trip, I think, is to look at the website or the brochure and decide which artists are interesting to you, and then geographically map out an order, so you're not backtracking back and forth, and say, well, I definitely want to see 35 and 42 and 17
but it's
8
also
and 7.
You're 7.
I'm 7 this year.
The lucky number 7.
Yeah.
Are the numbers grouped? Like, if I'm at number 18, is number 19 next to me, or is number 47 next to me?
No, they're grouped it by. It is numerical order by neighborhood.
All right.
Basically.
So I can.
So it's logical that way. Yes, and you can plan it that way.
But it seemed very daunting to me last year, or the couple of years I've done it, to actually go to all.
Well,
of
they're
them.
50.
Right.
They're 50. There's 59 artists, but 50 sites.
So you figure 10 minutes, 15 minutes by the time you park and say hi.
Well, the thing is, and you get interested in somebody, and then you might be there for an hour. So it's good that it's 2 days.
Yes. It's always hard to know what are my must-sees.
Mm-hmm.
And,
Well, you kind of wing it. You do your best job of guessing ahead of time what you want to see and what you've loved seeing before.
I do it like a good husband.
You may have become friends.
I just go where I'm told. We're going here. All right, we're going here next. Park the car. I'll be right back. It takes a lot of pressure off.
Yes, you're right about that.
But there are some, in the photography of each of the studios, is there someone we can give credit to taking those pictures, or are those submitted by the artist?
They're submitted by the artist. Mm-hmm.
Well,
I'm always, I'm very crabby sometimes with people because some people think that they can take a picture of their own artwork.
Right.
And some people can, and some people can't. So they've gotten so much better than Well, in the beginning, the first few years there'd be pictures of a painting leaning against a wall on a table, and it's crooked, and the computer couldn't straighten it. We were just scanning the image. It was like, good luck. We could crop it, and Barb Belknap used to do that.
Right. Well, that's part of the problem now that you have so many. They're all excellent photographs. I have to, at least for me,
I'm glad
I figure I can probably do 8, maybe 10 in a day. And after that, I'm going to...
After that, it's a bonus, or else you're overwhelmed.
I'm going to be done. I'll be arted out, if there is such a thing.
Cooked.
Cooked. I will be cooked. Stick a fork in me. And it's very hard to choose.
Well, the other thing is, over the years, you can become friends with these people and make an appointment and go back. So if you want to see something new, go to the new one, and but contact the one, because now you have contact information for each artist through the website, PlacitasStudioTour.com.
Is there a number they can call also?
Yes, but
no, sure. Go to the website.
Go to the website.
Okay.
And the number's there. I think, and the number's actually on the brochure.
Or just drop by your studio.
My number.
Number 7.
No. So anyway.
I'm under the speaking dropping by.
And Andy Callahan's running the tour this year, and her number's also listed.
So I have moved to Placitas for anywhere from 1 to 40 years, but now I am an artist. And what would make me go, I want to be in this tour, as opposed to just keep doing my art?
The answer is actually I'm not sure.
Okay.
You probably want the exposure. You may want the community. You may want to get to know the other artists.
So this really is a sale as well as a
It's a big
tour.
time sale. This is one of the best sales for most of these artists that they do all year, even if they pay more to be in a craft show in a tent somewhere or at the fairgrounds, because people are coming to them, for one thing. They're not schlepping all their work and setting it up somewhere and worrying about it all night. It's in their own space, and the public is coming to them. It's a great deal, and it's actually relatively inexpensive for the artist compared to some of the basic fee is $230 this year.
And
$230.
One of the tenets of marketing is you have to advertise. And the A,
that's how all our budget is spent on signs or advertising.
The A is aware; they have to know you're there.
Yeah.
So everyone's coming to you.
It's kind of hard to ignore the tour on the weekend. So if you're an artist or someone who's thinking about being an artist, you're going to hear about it.
Right.
We definitely have artists on the tour now who used to come as tourists.
Now, are there guidelines like I have to have so many square feet, I have to have so much parking?
There are definitely guidelines, but not those kind.
No.
And they're all they're online. You can see them, the guidelines.
And are there suggestions like have bottled water?
Sure. Yeah, we almost everybody has something.
Okay.
Some kind of refreshment. Yeah.
If they
or
would
cookies.
advertise,
Some people make cookies.
But if I knew what they were serving, that might help me decide who to go see.
Well, you'll have to go to find out. Okay. We don't advertise that part.
Afterwards, we'll have a postmortem. Who had the best cookies?
Right, okay.
Maybe that's an award. Don't like that.
I don't know. I'm not in charge of awards.
Oh, because you've learned to delegate and made your life easier. What do you see as the future for the tour?
I don't know. It's interesting. I think it's going to gradually morph. Nancy Hollis, the wife of an artist, has agreed to take over next year. So she's not an artist. She's more of an administrator. And she has lots of ideas, and she's experienced at event planning, and I think it's going to be fabulous. And, it's going to morph. It's going to change. It has already. Over 20 years it's changed. I think it's great. And, at one point when we weren't getting somebody to step up, I figured, well, maybe it'll go away, but it didn't. And there are too many of us who don't want to give up that Mother's Day weekend, which we pretty much have our claws on now.
Sure.
And since there's so many tours, there's so many tours now. It works.
Apparently.
It competes with marriages sometimes, and it competes with graduation, UNM graduation. But that's only 1 year. We miss somebody, and then they come back. Right. A lot of the people who come are repeat offenders. They come every year now.
Any people who are like one-hit wonders? It's like, I tried it, I didn't like it for one reason or another.
As tourists or as
artists?
Artist? Yes. Yeah, they do. And some people just try it because they've never done it before, and then they realize, well, I should have had an email list, or I should have sent out more invitations.
Right. So they learn too.
They learn too.
So are there people who get with the program? Because artists are not always great at advertising and marketing.
Yes, they are. They're amazing.
Not always. I run into the wrong ones. But maybe after 2 or 3 years of trying, they go, my stuff,
it's not the right market.
I need another vehicle.
Yeah.
Because they're good enough to be in it, but for some reason
everybody's good enough to be in it. It's not a juried show.
Okay.
It's self-juries.
Okay.
So the people who quit, they quit for various reasons. Maybe they move, or they just decided it wasn't worth the effort, or they didn't sell enough, or, but we don't have to figure that out for them, and I want everybody to feel like they can be part of this. So,
well, if you are a living artist, where this is, whether it is casino money or Blades money or whatever, or your mortgage, the nut to crack, the 230, and some bottled water.
And you have to work. Everybody has to work a few hours.
Yes. Now,
some people work, months, and some people work a few hours.
Do the guidelines on the website, PlacitasStudioTour.com, does it say, because it may not be retail people, it's like you need someone there to handle the money, or you need someone to help with parking?
People figure that out for themselves, and we talk about it. We have a mandatory meeting, which we just had last week, where all the artists have to come and show up, and they sign up for jobs, and we also talk about, collecting your taxes, having refreshments. We have about 12 or 13 new people on the tour this year, new studios that have never done it before, so they have a lot to learn, but they can learn from everybody else, and they will. So,
are there any? I know that everybody's an artist and everybody's equal, and we don't keep score in t-ball. Are there any superstars? Are there any Chahoolis?
You asked me that last year,
and it was a good question. Give me a better answer than last year.
I'll tell you the most fun superstar that we had for many years was Roger Evans.
Okay.
And he's retired from the tour. He'll be around.
Okay.
But I can't send people to his studio anymore, which breaks my heart. But we've had other people who are, internationally known or well known, or you've seen their work in Santa Fe, or you've seen them at the museum or something.
What's the fault of?
I don't think that's the draw to the tour.
Not
I think
at all.
it's Placitas itself, and I think it's the uniqueness of the fact that people are actually seeing working studios, because a lot of the studio tours aren't really studio tours; they're something else. There's some kind of mixture, and the restaurants have it, and the galleries are open, and it's a different. It's not so focused on actually seeing the creative space. And the Placitas, the range of spaces here it's everything from John and Nancy's hand-hewn, log-built studio to all kinds of fancy, brand new, contemporary, state-of-the-art studios, and everything in between. And the place where a person does their creative work really reflects a lot about who they are and how they work and so forth. And that's one of the things that people come out to hang out in those spaces and, get that.
Right.
Or a taste of it anyway. And check out the website and come to the tour on May 13th and 14th.
I get what you're saying. We're still exploring the area and did Taos last fall. And staying near, I think it's the World Mark, or next to the Kit Carson. And there's a museum there that everybody knows that I don't remember the guy's name, but it's where he lived. It's on the property there. And there's not necessarily art in there, although I believe he was an artist. It's just the house that he built 150 years ago, and you see the blue spruce that was probably 2 feet tall, and now it's 80 feet tall. Yeah. Totally irrelevant to what we're talking about.
Well, let's get back on subject.
But
isn't that interesting, how he lived? The
way he got taxed, because he designed the house and built a lot of it. You got taxed by the number of windows you had, because that means you have money. So the windows are in kind of weird places, so he could make the most use of light without paying them.
Fascinating.
So, but that's like going to these people's space of where do they do that? That's as interesting as what they produce. It's almost irrelevant what they produce.
Well, let's not go that far.
But it's part of the whole picture.
Yeah.
But, I've seen people with incredible shops in the garage, guys, and they can barely roll the window up. And other people with their grandfather's tools are doing ring jobs. And
the tools that the people use, men and women artists here, are very interesting to a lot of the guys who would otherwise sit outside in the yard.
Right.
So, just saying. Because the tools are involved a lot.
Well, let's talk about that.
And the other thing is, if you're not into the studio, there may be a beautiful garden or a beautiful something else, or just a great place to look at the mountains. So there are a lot of reasons people come. And if your spouse or your partner or whoever you're hanging out with that day is not interested in jewelry, there's something else to do while you're doing that.
Although I might be interested in how they fabricated the jewelry, but not want to actually own it.
Right.
Or because it's craftsman. It's a studio tour.
It is.
That you also get to see great art.
But you get to see bronzes, and you get to see ceramics, and you get to see glasswork and paintings. And
is there this? This may not be a great question, but I'll ask you anyway.
I'll let you know.
Okay. We're in the part of the country or the world where there are 18 or 19 pueblos around here. Probably not a lot of Native Americans participating in the studio tour. But some people do Native American art. As an artist, I don't think I would be comfortable making dream catchers, or I don't think there's anything wrong with it or insulting.
Right.
Is there a tendency to gravitate towards that because it's marketable, or avoid it because it's really not your thing?
I don't know the answer to why that happens, but I think it's not happening with anyone on this tour that I see who isn't entitled to it. I mean, we do have Native Americans on the tour. And there are people who do things that have been influenced by the things they've been in contact with out here. But it's an homage. It's not copying or trying to recreate. So.
But now thinking about it, which I probably should have done before I asked the question.
So, it's not a great question. But
I guess if you're doing that kind of art, it was probably handed down from generation to generation. You can't go to YouTube and say, "Here's how to make a Kachina doll in 6."
You probably can.
Right.
You can probably learn to do almost anything.
That's the first thing I'm doing when I get home. No, I tried to up at the community center, senior center. They have clay workshop on Saturdays. I did that for a while.
Great.
Discovering that's yet another medium I don't have a skill in. But I was going to
clay
make
is wonderful.
it's fun. and it was more about like the stitchery group. It was more about the conversation than the clay.
Oh, okay.
But I was going to make the sconces for the house we're building.
Sure.
Because it's just a nickel's worth of clay and a little bit of, glaze or whatever.
And what did you learn?
That it is not that. There's actually a skill to it. Just I guess.
Did you make them anyway?
I made about 3.
Good.
And
are you using? Well,
I'm going to use 2 in my office. I'm not going to put them outside.
Okay.
Not because they weren't bad. Or it's not that they weren't good. It's that they weren't the shape.
You got a little surprised. That wasn't what you imagined. But still, I mean, that's the nature.
Mechanically, it wasn't right. Artistically, it was okay.
And that's also the nature of clay, too. Things happen.
And I cook a lot, so I tried to make a little salt bin.
Oh, good.
Lids. That's like people over 50 trying to thread a needle. I don't have... Didn't your mom say, hey, Rita, come thread this for me?
Yeah, eventually I had to come and sew it for her.
There you go. So, yeah, lids.
Lids are good. Oh, yeah, well, I think they're fun, but,
Well, speaking of Riha Rothberg, you are, can we say eclectic? Or you are multi-medium?
I'm definitely multi-medium.
What's your favorite?
Mixed media is my favorite because now I have little bits of rusty metal around, and I have a lot of fabric, and I paint, and I have wire, and I'm sort of doing some 3-dimensional pieces that I don't know how to explain them, but
do you know what it's going to look like before you
I'm still
start
painting sometimes, or I have an idea, but creatures take on a life of their own. It's sort of like writing a story, and then the character, kind of like bump you out of the way.
I could never get past 3 pages.
Keep trying. Writing's the same way. You have to do it all the time, I think. And I've been writing a lot this year, just for my own edification. And it starts to be fun. For me, it's starting to be like art. I'm losing track of time.
Is it a story, or is it a poem, or
it's a hell of a story.
A haiku?
No, it's just.
There was one story you were writing.
No, it's sometimes it's poetry. Sometimes something inspires you. You see the moonlight, and you hear
I see the moonlight. I go, that is an amazing moon, especially the one on the 10th.
That's enough. Everybody doesn't have to do it.
But
you do this.
I don't even need to take a picture of it because I've got my organic picture in my brain.
Well, great. You have plenty of things you're doing. It's not like you
I
have
should
to do
probably
everything.
work on telekinesis or the nonverbal communication so that you could see my pictures.
Okay.
Wasn't there an
We'll do that between now and next year.
Yeah, maybe.
We'll just sit here silently.
Maybe before the 13th and 14th when the Placitas Studio Tour is happening.
That sounds good. And in the meantime, everyone else should go on the website, placitasstudiotour.com, plan their tour.
So when you get Riha, the artist, you're going to do painting. Is that like I'm going to paint for the next 6 months, or is it like today I'm painting, tomorrow I'm doing this?
Yeah, I tend to keep several things going at once.
How do you know when it's done? I ask that because Audrey found pastels.
It's easy for people starting to overwork things.
But she had done other stuff and she was pretty good at it. Mm-hmm. But the pastels were like, there's something in your endocrinologic system that you know how to do this.
And so she's finding success.
Really good at it.
Oh, good.
But she'll bring it out and say, oh, well, look at this. Like, oh, that's great. She goes, oh, it's not done. Oh. Looks done to me. Uh-huh. So do you know when yours is done?
Yeah, but I can't tell you how I know.
But you do know?
Yeah. Sometimes I could do more, and sometimes I should have done less. But basically, I've been doing this now my whole life, so I know when I'm done. You just know when you're done. It's like anything.
Regardless of the
you know when you've eaten enough.
Yeah, usually about 20 minutes before I stop eating. Do you seek the input of other artists? Do you get stuck?
No, I don't. But I do find, I haven't done it in a long time, but I do find doing critiques to be beneficial or interesting at least. And I think that's something we're going to talk about this year I'm going to talk about on the after tour part, whether there's a group that wants to do critiques. I have a lot of people come through the studio who will ask me if I would do critiques for them.
Right.
And we talk about it, but it never happens. So,
are you available if someone said,
sure.
just come on over, we'll have a cup of tea or whatever and a cookie.
Glass of wine.
Chardonnay?
No.
No.
Anything
Merlot.
but that.
Anything but that.
I've revealed all I'm going to reveal about the Placitas Studio Tour.com. Mother's Day weekend, May 14th,
20th year.
13th and 14th. We've been sharing our experience, let me say this right. We've been sharing our inspiration for 20 years.
Is this the first year that you've used that? Okay. Have you done bumper stickers?
No, there are a lot of things we should do for marketing.
Next year.
We always say that, but actually I think next year we might, because I had a conversation with someone who probably knows a little bit more about doing that.
All right.
I think there are a lot of ideas. I'd like to do a postcard collection and have an image from each artist and sell that. Everybody could have those to sell. Or maybe just the ones who want
a calendar.
A calendar, that's another idea. I like it. You want to do that for us? Are you good at that?
No, I'm not. All I do is talk.
See, now I'm getting better at asking people to do things, so watch out what you volunteer.
Well, based upon how relaxed you look, and this is coming up, you must be doing it correctly.
Good.
So for Conversations with Matthew Bronson here on KUPR 99.9 FM in Placitas, New Mexico, and ABQLive.tv, we've been having a conversation with Riha Rothberg about this year's 2017
20th anniversary.
I'll let you do it.
You did. It was great.
Thank you, and we'll see you next time. Thank you, Riha.